Hi guys, and welcome to PyMath. In today's video, we're going to be proving all these four trig identities. So the first one we're going to be proving is sine 22.5 is equal to 1 over 2 multiplied by square root 2 minus root 2. Alright, so let's get started. To do this, to prove all these, we'll need to use these two formulae and just a lot of, not a lot, but some well-known trig identities, set like sine 45 is root 2 over 2. We're going to use something like those. So let's get started. So we know that 22.5 multiplied by 2 is equal to 45. So we can say that cos 45 is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared 22.5. Alright? And we also know that cos 45 is root 2 over 2. So we can write root 2 over 2 equals 1 minus 2 sine squared 22.5. So let's just rearrange this equation. We can rearrange it as 2 sine squared 22.5 is equal to 1 minus root 2 over 2. You get this by moving this to this side and this to this side. Alright? So now we can simplify this as 2 minus root 2 over 2. And this is equal to 2 sine squared 22.5. Let me just start writing it over here. If we move this 2 down to this denominator, we get sine squared 22.5 is equal to 2 minus root 2 divided by 4. Alright? And if we just take the square root of both sides, we'll get sine 22.5 is equal to square root 2 minus root 2 divided by square root 4. And we can simplify that into sine 22.5 degrees is equal to square root 2 minus root 2 over 2. And thus we've proved this to be true. Alright, so let me just erase this. Alright, so now let's move on to cos 22.5. So we know that cos squared theta plus sine squared theta is equal to 1. But because of that, we can also write that cos squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. And we can write this with theta being 22.5. So cos squared 22.5 is equal to 1 minus sine squared 22.5. And we know what sine squared 22.5 is, because we have sine squared, because we already have sine 22.5. All we need to do is square it. So we can rewrite this as 1 minus And if we simplify that, we get alright, so cos squared 22.5 is equal to that. Let me just make this more organized. Alright, so what we can do is we can distribute the 1 throughout the numerator of the fraction and the denominator. So we'll get 4 minus 2 plus root 2. You may be wondering why plus? Well, it's because this minus is being distributed to this and this, right? So the negative root 2 will become positive root 2. And this is all over 4. So we can write 2 plus root 2 over 4 is equal to cos squared 22.5. And if we bring this up here, if we square root both sides, we'll get cos 22.5 is equal to square root of 2 plus root 2 over 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. And this obviously is equal to this. Thus, it's proved. Now we'll move on to tan. So we know that tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cos theta, right? If we replace theta with 22.5, we get tan 22.5 is equal to sine 22.5 divided by cos 22.5. And this is convenient for us because we already know sine 22.5 and cos 22.5 because we just proved them. So we can sub in sine 22.5 and cos 22.5, and I'm gonna kind of rewrite this here, but it will be tan 22.5 is equal to square root 2 minus root 2 divided by 2 divided by square root 2 plus root 2 divided by 2. Alright? So this is sine 22.5 and this is cos 22.5. And obviously with dividing we have to flip this fraction, take the reciprocal of it, and multiply it with this fraction. So when we do that, the 2's cancel out. So we get alright, so that's what we have now. Tan 22.5 equals to root 2 minus root 2 divided by root 2 plus root 2. So what we can do now is we can take the conjugate pair of this, which is 2 minus root 2, and multiply it with both the numerator and the denominator. So why would we do that? It's to, as I've said before in previous videos, is to get this equation, a squared minus b squared these two are conjugate pairs, right? So if this is one part of the conjugate pair, we want to get the other one so we can get this, all right, and remove the radical from the denominator. So we'll just multiply with 2 minus root 2. So we get and when we simplify both the numerator and the denominator, obviously the numerator you can use the they're both, it's square root of the same thing being multiplied against each other. It's like square root of a multiplied by square root of a equals to a, right? So square root of 2 minus root 2 multiplied by square root of 2 minus root 2 is, of course, 2 minus root 2. That's all over, and that is all over square root of 4 minus 2. Because you're taking the square root of this, the first term, a, just like this equation, and subtracting the square root of, the square of that, b. And this is all equal to tan 22.5. So we can simplify this to root 2 multiplied by root 2 minus 1 divided by root 2. And if we just cancel these out, we get tan 22.5 is equal to root 2 minus 1. And thus, this is proved. Alright? So I'll erase all this. And we'll move on to the last one. We know that cot theta is 1 over tan theta. And as we've done previously, we'll replace the theta with 22.5. So cot 22.5 is equal to 1 over tan 22.5. Alright, so we can simplify that into cot 22.5 is equal to 1 over root 2 minus 1. And just like what we did with the while proving tan 22.5, we have to take the conjugate pair of this and multiply it with the numerator and the denominator. The conjugate pair of this is obviously, as you should know by now, root 2 plus 1. So we're gonna say that cot 22.5 is equal to 1 times root 2 plus 1 over root 2 minus 1 times root 2 plus 1. Alright? So if we simplify this further, we got root 2 plus 1 divided by 2 minus 1. Obviously, again, here we're using the a squared minus b squared formula. Right? So let me just bring this up here. We can simplify this into cot 22.5 is equal to root 2 plus 1 divided by 1. And that simplifies into cot 22.5 is equal to root 2 plus 1. and thus our final formula is proved. Now, I'm not saying you should memorize these, but you should at least know how to get them, because it really just helps your problem solving skills, and it makes life easier if you know how to get something done, because it'll help your problem solving skills and a lot of other things, right? So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, because it really helps the channel out a lot. And thanks for watching.